Folks, I got to be dead honest with you. This is one of those times where I have to say, I never thought I would have to make a video reacting to something like this. Congressman Tim Burchett here in Tennessee is gaining more and more popularity, and he's doing so because he has completely bought into the MAGA shtick. He is trying so hard to capitalize on the grift. And I've told several people that he's a Dollar General knockoff of Donald Trump, and I've said the best way to describe Tim Burchett would be if Donald Trump had a really shitty sitcom and Tim Burchett was his goofy cousin from Tennessee that showed up every other episode. That's Tim Burchett. And just when you think Tim Burchett can't get more ridiculous, he talks about when Joe Biden was making his entrance into the State of the Union address, and according to Tim, he says that Matt Gatez put him up to stalling Joe Biden's interest. And he's actually sitting there laughing and bragging about this. No, folks, I'm not making this up. Roll the clip.
So Matt Gatez and Boebert are standing over there beside me, and Matt says, Burchett, do one of your endless stories, and let's see if you can double the time you delayed him from last year. So I leaned over to him and I said, Mr. President, I said, my brother used to have a 1972 Chevy Corvette, had a 350 in it. And he says, really? And I said, yeah. I said, a girl asked me out one time to a Sadie Hawkins dance. And so my brother let me take it. I said, that was 1980. And then I said, I peeled out in the parking lot of Brunswick Billiards. And then I said, I started talking about the vet and how it peeled out. And then I said, you know, my wife and I really like chocolate chip ice cream. And then he just looked at me like, wow. And he goes, really? He said, so he started talking about chocolate chip ice cream. And then he asked me if he could have Kelly's phone number. And I thought, you creepy old dude, I'm not going to swap wives with you. And then he got away from me. And Matt said something like, see if you can get him back, Burchett, or something. But then he came back and he started, and I said something, hey, have you seen those new Corvettes? And he said, yeah. He said, man, they're nice. And I said, yeah. I said something about they kind of remind me of Ferrari or something. And then I said,
what in the hell kind of Beavis and Butthead bullshit did we just watch? Can someone explain that one to me? I mean, you got a guy sitting there bragging about stalling the President of the United States. Yeah, man, Matt Gatez put me up to it. He's like, hey, Burchett, go over and mess with Joe Biden. See if you can't style him like you did last year. So I went over, and I started talking about how my brother had a 1972 Corvette with a 350 in it. And I told him how my mommy made cornbread. And she said, Tim, if you knock up your girlfriend, we're going to make her have that baby anyway. And, my daddy said, son, if somebody's going to hurt you, they're just going to hurt you. So we can't fix gun violence, And, you creepy old man, I ain't going to swap wives with you, Folks, I promise you that not all of us here in Tennessee talk like that. I promise you that they just give guys like that the microphone and they cash in on all the ridiculous Southern stereotypes that are out there because they know there's dumbasses that are willing to buy it. But I can't believe we live in a world where this behavior is normal and where you got congressmen sitting there, see if you can't stop him. It's ridiculous. It's so over the top ridiculous. My thoughts goes to this. Hundreds of years from now, thousands of years from now, people will look back on this particular time. Now, we don't have YouTube videos of Martin Van Buren, so we don't know what kind of asshole he might have been. We don't have videos of Christopher Columbus. We don't, and it's probably a good thing in that department, but I'm just saying, people are going to roll this back one day. And I picture them stumbling across this video and going, that couldn't be real. Was a guy really reacting to that? And did that really happen? No, that had to have been satire. That had to have been a joke. There's no way that was real. But it is. And that is the world that MAGA lives in. That is the world that MAGA has adopted. I can't believe that we live in a world where they just disrespect a president like that so much and brag about it and laugh about it. And meanwhile, they turn around and they back a guy as despicable as Donald Trump. They give him a pass for everything. When he tries to overthrow an election and overthrow the government, they give him a pass for it. It's not a deal breaker to them that he led an insurrection on our country. It's not a deal breaker to them that he was found liable of sexual abuse. It's not a deal breaker to them that he wants to terminate the Constitution. It's not a deal breaker to them that he would like to be dictator. None of those things are deal breakers. They honor and they respect him, and they sit there and they take orders from him. They block bills for a failed former president, a loser who wasn't man enough to accept defeat and go home like anybody else has done all down through history. They sit and they take orders from a guy like that and then sit there like Beavis and Butthead trying to just make a joke out of Joe Biden. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, to be honest with you, I couldn't make out what Burchett was saying, and I actually made notes during the State of the Union address, and at one point I wrote, is Burchett fangirling out? Because that's kind of how it looked. It really kind of looked to me like he was fangirling, but now he's saying, oh no, he put me up to it, hey Burchett. And once I start talking like Tim Burchett, then I just do it for the rest of the day. And I know the impression is not spot on, and it's not meant to be. It's satire, which is the use of humor, irony, and exaggeration to expose the stupidity of people's beliefs. And as long as Tim Burchett is out there trying to make a name for Tennessee, I'm going to be over here on the other side trying to combat that. I'm going to be over here on the other side saying, listen, folks, hold on. Not everybody in Tennessee is that Beavis and Butthead goon, okay? And actually, I apologize for comparing him to Beavis and Butthead because that was some great comedy, okay? Tim Burchett ain't even that. Tim Burchett does not speak for me here in Tennessee, and he does not speak for my friends here in Tennessee. We have a lot of good voices out there leading here in Tennessee, and Tennessee shuts their microphones off. Tennessee tells them to go sit down. Tennessee puts them out. Because that's the kind of good old boy system we got here. And Tim Burchett, he eats that up. He loves it. And he loves that he's getting more notoriety. He loves it because he saw it. Hey, I can be his goofy cousin Virgil. Andy Griffith reference. But anyway, folks, all we can do is just try to keep combating the stupidity because at this point, that's all the other side has.